Today's topic is YouTube strategy. Hey, welcome back to Advanced Geekery. My name is David Gewirtz, and we're back here in Oregon's beautiful Inspiration Garden. And the topic of the day is YouTube strategy. Once again, we're doing a little drone walk. I guess I'm droning on. And I'll be talking to you about one of the questions I get asked often, especially this year, which is, what is my YouTube strategy? Before we get started, I want to give you two interesting production notes. The first production note is I'm wearing this yellow shirt, and the last time I wore red shirts. That's because I'm hoping that the drone will be able to track me better with a slightly higher contrast shirt. So I'm hoping that that'll work out. I'm also a little concerned because it keeps moving slightly afield, and I kind of hope it doesn't decide to get lost in what you can kind of see is brush over here, so hopefully it'll stay on track. The second production note is I haven't had coffee for a few hours, so bear with me. I'm not entirely fueled. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what my strategy has been. And actually, I think I'm going to have to stop for a second because we've got a couple kids. So I'm going to grab this and I'll pick it back up in a minute. Come on back.
This program is sponsored in part by the Advanced Geekery weekly newsletter. Want exclusive access to my latest ZDNet articles, behind-the-scenes updates on my projects, and must-watch YouTube videos curated just for you? How about fascinating reads from around the web and a chance to have your own project spotlighted? It's all in the newsletter. And the best part, subscribing is absolutely free. Don't wait, click the link below to get your weekly issue and make it awesome.
All right, so one of the interesting challenges of doing this is that there are people going by, and I want to make sure that I don't hit them or interact with them, especially kids. So when there's kids in range, I'm kind of shutting down and making sure I don't get them on film, or at least so that they're not identifiable on film. Anyway, so YouTube strategy. This year's been pretty different in the sense that I have been attempting to produce a video once a week. Now, my historical average was once every 2 or 3 months over the last 10 years or so, closer to 3 months. And in fact, in 2024, I think I went 6 or 8 months between videos. So a long time. But this year, I've been trying very, very hard to do it weekly. And that's changed a lot about how I put this together. So I got started doing these YouTube videos back when my editor decided at ZDNet that I was going to be covering 3D printers. He had an interesting technique about how he assigned projects to people. And so at the time I lived in Florida and I lived near Cape Canaveral, so obviously I was a Space Center expert. Same thing with 3D printing. You like mechanical stuff, you're a 3D printing expert. Hello. Little doggy. Anyway, so I'd been doing these intermittently, mostly for the benefit of ZDNet, and then when ZDNet got acquired, the 3D printing focus decided to, the acquiring company decided to change their focus away from 3D printing and put me on many of the other technology topics I've been covering. Enterprise IT, AI, virtual networking, cloud computing, all this stuff. So, hello. So as a result, at about, I'd say about 2 years ago now, I started my own, I moved the channel from what was David Gewirtz TV to Advanced Geekery and changed the focus of Advanced Geekery to my projects, the geek stuff that I was involved in. And sometimes that was 3D printing, sometimes that was desktop fabrication, CNC, workshop projects, drones, YouTube production, all that sort of stuff. But I went this really long period last year without producing anything. And I kind of didn't like that. I really wanted to get to the point where I could produce more regularly. But the criteria that my then editor at ZDNet wanted was they wanted tight, short videos with very high production value. And they took a long time. And so, you know, to be able to crank out something weekly was quite a challenge, especially at that time period. So what do I do about that? Well, now that Advanced Geekery is my piece, my thing, completely, and I'm able to sort of choose the editorial focus, I've pretty much chosen the editorial focus to be whatever the heck I want to produce, and how I want to produce it, and however quickly I can produce it. And my goal has been, generally speaking, to do this once a week or so. But, you know, that's been a bit of an interesting thing. Now, I will tell you I'm going to camp for a few minutes here. I'm going to try the spotlight mode, because this is a really nice place to see things. So let's bring the drone back. Come on. There we go. Hello. All right, so this is the spotlight mode, and I'm just trying to have this thing sort of sit here and talk to you while I'm sitting here. I haven't tried spotlight mode with a sit and chat with a nice background, so this will be good. So basically, it's now my opportunity to be able to do what I want to do in these videos. But how do I get it done weekly? You know, how do I find a way to get all of these things done weekly? Now, my practice had been generally to, as I worked on projects, take video of working on the project, and then at some point pull it together. I did this, a good example of that is the dust collection system I did, which I actually did the video of years before and in pieces, and then finally went through my old video and found all the parts and put it together and turned it into a piece of video. And that worked out pretty well. So, well, I've got, you know, I go back and I look at collections of video. Next week or the week after, I may talk to you a little bit about how I have this filament scale that helps me weigh out the amount of filament, because I have a lot of the video from it. I just need an intro and outro, so I might be able to turn a video into that. But the goal was, instead of production value, the goal was frequency. And that's been my strategy for 2024. I'm going to stop here for a second. Again, one of the reasons I keep looking around, I'm in a public park, and I want to make sure that as people come back and forth, the drone isn't in their way, and, you know, the situation is such that they're able to walk by and feel comfortable. So I'm going to stop for a second, and then I'll reset. We'll probably keep walking now that we've had a chance to take a look at this. There's a clearing up there, and I'm going to try one of their spotlight. Actually, it's a circle thing, and I'm going to see how that looks. So I'll come to a stop there, and we'll see how that works on the drone as well. So the strategy of let's put together a video once a week. In practice, in 2025, I've managed to do 3 a month. So I haven't really gotten to weekly, but I've gotten to 3 a month, which is vastly better than anything I've ever done before. And I really like that. And what's interesting is that my engagement and my traffic has gone up quite a lot. There's a lot more people watching. There's a lot more people commenting than were doing so before, probably because there's a lot more videos. So that the strategy of cranking them out weekly has worked. The question is, what do I do to crank them out weekly? And we'll talk about that after I play with what the drone can do in a clearing. So we're coming up to this nice little clearing area, and I'm going to collect the drone, and we'll see whether it can do its little fly-up thing, because I haven't tried that yet. I'm going to wait for the drone to come back to me again. All right, so this thing's called a droney, and apparently it just goes up and back. Looks like about 4 meters. And it's coming back. And it's coming back. That's a droney. It's circling. I'm going to let it circle around me without me spinning around, because I'm not a big spinning around fan. Just letting it come around behind me, and I guess it's going to come back in front. There we go. Hello. That's circle. Okay, so we're talking about strategy. So my strategy really has been crank out the videos. That's been the fundamental component of it. Don't be as concerned about the production quality or even the consistency of message. Don't worry about having one channel for one topic and another channel for another topic. Do Dave's stuff, you know, which in most cases are my projects and my gear and the things I'm learning about. And learn the crank, you know, make sure that something happens as close to once a week as possible. That's what this is about. This has been a very, very busy week, but I need to take a walk. And so, you know, it's the beautiful time of Oregon now. Go out and take a walk. I can do that, and I can also do a video by providing you with some information. Now, again, I'm going to come up in a minute here with kids, so I'm going to have to pause this. That's the only disadvantage, is that the start and unstart takes a little while. But I'm going to grab the drone. Come on back. Okay, so that was interesting. I didn't expect to run into friends out here while doing this. So there's been a bit of an interruption between then, like a second ago for you folks, and now for me, which has been kind of a gap because I had time to talk to these friends who I haven't seen for a while, and they were just walking by. Very curious about the drone. But anyway, let's see if I can wrap this thing up, because it's been going for a little while and there have been a bunch of interruptions. Let me know in the comments whether you like this, hate this kind of approach. Because one of the things it does let you do is get a feel for, you know, a little bit more about what I'm thinking about and doing than when I'm doing hands-on stuff. And again, it's a big part of giving you something that you enjoy watching or learning from. See if it comes back. There we go. Giving you something that you enjoy watching and learning from, as well as the opportunity to produce this for you. So there's a combination of things. I'm going to move over to the shade here. And wrap this thing up because I'm getting really hot in the sun. I started out here, it was very, very not sunny, but now it is very sunny. So will it hit a post? Nope, it didn't hit a post. That's a start. All right, it's about to back into a post. There. All right, so I don't know quite how much of this you saw, but as I came into this building, it backed up, bounced off one of the posts, kind of wobbled for a minute, and then did a very carefully controlled landing to touch, which was very cool. Now, unfortunately, the spotlight is up, so I'm like looking way up when I'm sitting here, but I'm also in the shade, and I'm kind of enjoying that for a moment. So, net, the strategy is more videos. Don't be as fussy about what goes into the videos. Get the videos done. Do things that are interesting. And apparently, as a result of that, engagement and traffic goes up. My subscriptions have gone up quite a bit. My comment levels have gone up quite a bit. You folks seem to be more engaged with it, although I do get more feedback that you prefer higher production value. And there is a real definite trade-off between number of videos and production value. How long does it take to set up the camera? How many camera setups are there? You know, some of those high production values involve a camera setup every 10 or 15 seconds, or an entire rig, a camera robot setup every 10 or 15 seconds, as opposed to this, which is fairly quick. But of course here, I can be waylaid by, you know, my friends who walk by, or making sure I don't get kids in the shot, or the drone running out of batteries, or crashing into a post or something like that. But you get to have a more detailed story about my thinking as opposed to just watching a hands-on. So you're going to see lots of different kinds of videos while I do Advanced Geekery to be able to give you interesting stuff and pick and choose what you like. You know, let me know in the comments what you think, the ups and downs, and I'll do my best to turn these things into really good pieces of video. So let's do this officially. So wrapping that up, I still have 2 dots on the battery. Wrapping it up, for Advanced Geekery, my name is David Gewirtz. Go out there and film something awesome. And have a beautiful day.